Coach, what an honor. Obviously, I got to work with you this entire year on Inside the NFL, got to know you pretty well. I mean, 8 total Super Bowls, 6 as the head coach of the New England Patriots, the greatest dynasty of this era. I mean, and now a New York Times bestseller. The Bill Belichick legacy extends almost as long as your resume. I just want to ask, Coach, with everything that's going on, just how are you doing in dealing with all of the things that you've been having to deal with recently?
Yeah, good. Just, control what you can control and, focus on football.
Yeah. All right, Coach, so I have the book here in my hands. Coach, it says here, thank you to my idea mill and creative muse, Jordan Hudson, here in the acknowledgments. Why was it important to make sure she was acknowledged in this book?
Because she had a lot to do with it. One of the great ideas that she came up with is when I was writing the acknowledgments and kind of tribute to Coach Parcells, Lawrence Taylor, Tom Brady, my dad, 4 people that really meant a lot to me in my life. She came up with the idea of, why don't you give them their page? Give Taylor 56, give Brady 199, give your dad 106. That's how old he would have been if he were alive today. And I thought that was a great idea. So we incorporated that into the book, and those tribute pages are with the numbers that correspond to, to those 4 people. And so I thought that was a, great idea and wanted to give her credit for it. When my dad wrote his book, Football Scouting Methods, my mom kind of was instrumental in editing the book. And she said, look, if I can understand it, anybody can understand it, but some of this is just too technical. And my dad said, all right, well, you make the adjustments. And so in this book, The Art of Winning, there were several times where, Jordan read some of the chapters and was like, oh, man, this is pretty technical here. This is a little, do the average fans understand this?
Yeah.
And I kind of reread it because it's a business book. It's a business book. So I reread it and made some adjustments. And so there's some really good input there to try to make it more of a flowing book toward, business. And it's not a technical book. That wasn't the idea.
Yeah. The first thing you did was the CBS interview. That question wasn't asked about Jordan in that interview, Coach?
Oh, yeah. No, it was asked. No, it was asked. They asked about her the same similar question to what you asked about her acknowledgement in the book. And I explained that in the tribute pages that she did, but that wasn't shown.
Yeah. A lot of what we got from that was obviously, some of the things saying that she interrupted and, didn't necessarily cooperate through that process. In a lot of what you do, and I'm sure, in part of this book, it's maybe spoken about, it's don't be a distraction, right? And there are former players of yours and media members who are saying because of your current relationship, you may be or may have become that. How are you staying focused on football as the main thing to make sure that that's not something that's happening?
Yeah, that's what I do, as I stay focused on football. And some of the other opportunities that come along, Jordan looks at those and can dig into them a little bit deeper. But really, what she does helps me spend my time on football, and that's what's important to me.
For specifics for people, because I believe that this is definitely one of those questions that are out there, and people are making up their own stories, creating their own narrative. What does Jordan actually do for you that allows you to do your job? What are her actual job responsibilities?
Well, nothing with North Carolina. That would be number one. It would be personal opportunities. It could be a speaking thing. It could be a appearance on this or talk about that, or somebody wants whatever it happens to be, an autographs or that type of thing. And so, she would kind of help organize that for me. And one of the first things that came out was when North Carolina sent me emails saying, like, these people want to talk to you, these people want to talk to you, these people want to talk to you, these people want to talk to you. I sent back an email, can you please copy Jordan on these requests? Right? So that, she could at least, filter through them, because there was nobody. We didn't have a sports information guy. That was taken, because all the emails are shared in publicly, that was taken as Jordan's running the sports information department.
Yes.
And
Gotcha.
that also led to the narrative, which is like totally, she's not doing it. I mean, there was nobody that helped me sort them out. So I was asking her to do
Right.
it. And the Hard Knocks thing, you know, like just for the record, Hard Knocks is training camp.
Yep.
And we're not training camp. We're just not. That's not what we are. You know, the drama of training camp and who's gonna get cut and all that. Like we're a season. And they don't want that.
Yeah.
There's film issues too, but forget about the film issues. Like, just say you could straighten all those out. The Hard Knocks just didn't fit for us.
Yeah, like
That's the bottom line.
The biggest thing with Hard Knocks is the drama around what happens during that time. This book is about business, the art of winning, but you're a football coach. How does Jordan help you balance the two of those now?
Yeah, I try to focus on football in North Carolina, and some of the other things that come my way are Jordan looks at, and you know, she makes recommendations or gives guidance on some of the other opportunities that that pass through that are non-football, that are outside, that are business, and again, that was similar to the book. There were certain things in the book as I was writing it that she looked at it from a business perspective, and it didn't really fit the business narrative that the book was intended to target. And so not only did she create those pages, but she also brought a business perspective to some of the narrative that came out in the book. So that was very helpful. Jordan has her own businesses, and she's savvy in those. And I'm football, and I'll let her help me with the business.
When you look back at the writing of this book, when did the idea for you spark that this was something you wanted to do?
Oh, it was several years ago, and actually I mentioned in the book too, Ray Dalio is somebody that really encouraged me to, share some ideas. His book, Principles, this is not principles, but lessons, some sort of same idea of the things that I've learned and just how I did my job. Look, the book isn't about here's what you need to do, here's how you should live your life, here's the way to be successful. It's the lessons that I learned. What did I do? How did I handle it? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just what I did. Here are the mistakes that I made. What did I learn from them? And in reading the book, if the reader can take something from that and apply it to their situation or their life, great. Yeah. Great. That's really what it's about. This isn't a this is how you do it book. That's not the idea.
Chan and Fred are here. They're ready to roll.
Hey, CC, how you doing, man?
You good, brother?
Good to see you,
Good
buddy.
to see you, man.
Legend.
Good to see you.
Wow.
Coach, it was great to have opportunity to talk to you, to speak with Jordan a little bit about some of the things, that have been going on, some of the parts and roles that she plays as well. But, this book is written from a history of experiences in the game, but it's also easily equatable to business. Freddie T is here now. He's the business mogul of the pivot. Chan owns a ton of businesses, from restaurants to boating. I just in the business of Ryan Clark. But guys, welcome to the pivot again. This is Coach Bill Belichick, as you've been hearing him. I do wonder, Coach, when you're writing something like this, and you're taking all of your life experience, all of your football experience, to put it into words, how difficult was it for you to narrow down all of those things and say, okay, this is what I want to give the reader?
Yeah, book could have been twice as big, just stories and all that. But really the idea of the book is lessons from my life in football and what I experienced. Not saying it was right. Certainly there's a lot of mistakes in there, and I learned a lot. But, I always say, do your job. Well, this is how I did my job. And some of the things that came across my desk, some of the situations that I dealt with, here's what I did, here's why I did them, here's what happened. And that's what it is. And how that applies to somebody else's life is up to the reader. Not trying to give them a formula, just trying to talk about what I did and hopefully some interesting stories along the way.
Freddie T, what's the saying you always say that Coach?
Do business as business is being done.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's a business book.
Look, I absolutely fell in love with it because it applies to not only football as the setting that we were in when he was telling the entire team in the team meeting setting, but it applies to life, right? It reminds me to keep the main thing, right? And no matter what it is, you have to like stay in a straight line. And basically, he was just telling us, look, if the game calls for it, like this is what we're going to do at that particular moment. And all the guys just bought in. It was just the easy way to just dial in and do what you needed to do to go and win the game. And that's what we did.
And do the main thing. Your friend Nick Sabans, he's been on the show, and I know all the sayings, Coach, but the greatness of it, like you're talked about like Vince Lombardi and Don Shula and all of those guys. You tell people don't get caught up in the noise. When did you know that you were special? I always wanted to ask you this question. When did you know that you were a special coach, that Bill Belichick is on the level of Don Shula, Vince Lombardi, those guys? Like, and I don't think it got to you because of your success, but when did you know?
Well, CC, you know this, and Fred, you guys know this too. Players win games.
Yep.
Players win games. And as a coach, you just try to put the players in a position where they can go out and execute and win. And when you don't do that as a coach, you've lost the game. Coaches lose them, players win them. But you guys got to go out and make the plays. You don't want me out there making them. I guarantee you that. And so I think that that's really all I've tried to do, is put players in a position where they can go out and do what they do and win for us. And ultimately, you got to have good players to win. Good coaches can't win. Great players win games.
Coach, I got to tell you, because I was on the sideline with the Cameron. I won't say too many names. I was on the sideline, and we're looking across as players and saying, Bill got something for us. Like, you changed it. You changed the math. Like, as a coach, you tell players to change the math. You got one-on-one, change the math, change the math. You changed the math. You changed it as a coach.
But all I try to do was put the players in position to do what they could do. And what Tom Brady did was different than what Matt Castle did, and was different than what, Cam did. Yeah. And, you just try to play to the players' strengths. And Rodney Harrison was the second greatest defensive player I coached behind Taylor. But he's different than Devin McCourty. They're both great players. You try to let them do what they can do and let them play the game to their strengths. And I think that's your job as a coach, is to get the team prepared to play and then put them in a position where they got a fair fight. And if we try to run off tackle, strong safety blitz all day, that's just bad coaching, and we can't win. And good players can't overcome bad coaching. Good players got to have an opportunity to go out there and play. And I just want to make sure that I would give them that opportunity as a coach, whether that was a position coach or as a head coach. Didn't matter.
Wait, you're being very modest right now. See, because I think the NFL game it comes down to, like, the margin for error is so thin, right? Mm-hmm. Because everybody's amazing. All of the players are great.
Everybody's good.
Very elite. But you have to be, as you said, in those positions. I think situationally, that's the one thing I learned the most from you during my time in New England that was different than when I was in Jacksonville. Just situational football. You had us prepared, those little quizzes that we would do on Thursdays. We would come in and we would know if it's fourth quarter, down by this amount of points, what they were running, and all this different stuff. So we were extremely prepared situationally. And I think that's a big part of it, right? Not every coach had that, or at least in the places that I've been. So,
well, let's face it, Fred. Half the games in the NFL come down to one possession.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Half the games. So those situations are important. And all the big games, you got to figure that's what it's going to come down to. So, we took that very seriously. But again, in those critical situations, somebody's got to make the kick. Somebody's got to make the run. Somebody's got to make the tackle. Somebody's got to cover somebody. It's not me.
Hey, Coach, on page 199, that's Tom Brady's page, right? Mm-hmm. That's the slot that he was drafted by the New England Patriots. And so, that's his page. On that page, there's a quote that says, "You cannot win the game until you keep from losing." Talk a little bit about that quote and how Tom Brady personified that.
Tom did did 3 things I thought were just unbelievably great. As a quarterback, we all know the worst situation you can be in is long yardage. And so as long as the ball moves forward, you stay out of long yardage. And Tom did such a great job of not allowing negative plays to happen to our offense. No pre-snap penalties, no sacks. If the run didn't look good, he would check it to the other side or throw a quick look pass to one of the receivers. But he kept us out of negative plays and kept us out of long yardage. So 2nd and 10, the worst we were going to face is, 3rd and 10. But usually 2nd and 10 became 3rd and 5, and then you get a chance to pick it up. And so he didn't have the negative plays. No sacks, no turnovers, no interceptions, no strip sacks, no negative runs, no pre-snap penalties, and minimal long yardage situations. So that was number 1, great. Number 2, as I've told Tom many times, Tom, we can't gain any yards until you get rid of the ball, until he hands it to you or throws it to Randy or throws it to Julian. We can't gain any yards. You can't gain any yards. Give the ball to somebody else who can. And he did a great job of that, and Tom really understood how Randy could be productive, how Kevin Falk could be productive, how James White could be productive, how Rob could be productive, how Julian could be productive, what the skills were of those guys, how to use those guys, almost like a point guard. And then, of course, he made, great decisions under pressure and had a tremendous ability to see the field and understand situational football and make quick decisions under pressure. To me, those are the things that made Tom. He did a lot of things great. Those are the things that made him truly elite.
Quick, Fred, before you say something. You pointed at Fred, Coach. By the time you got Fred, he was a liability. He wasn't an asset anymore, was he?
He could gain yards.
Where did this come
My man,
from?
Freddie, because he gonna point at you because I know he did
The
nice.
first, actually, before I ask my question, during my visit, because I interrupted my visit to Cincinnati to go to New England, having gotten a call from the Pats. And our first conversation, it was great. Went in his office, he said, look, Florida, all my Florida Gator stuff. And we actually negotiated my deal without an agent. And he was like, just keep it out the media. And I understood what he meant and what he stood for, and the rest was history. But my time in New England was, I spent 11 years in Jacksonville. My 2 years in New England, unfortunately, didn't go the way any of us wanted it to, because we didn't get to the Super Bowl, and I got banged up a couple times. But the experience was priceless. I was able to take that back to Jacksonville and tell these guys, look, this is what it's going to take in order to get to that championship level. So every day for me, I was a fly on the wall. And I was able to absorb everything that he was trying to give the entire team. And I share a lot of that now when I go on speaking engagement, talking to different teams and all of that. But, Coach, I want to get back to Tom. As great as Tom was, right, many people would think that he would probably get preferred treatment, but you didn't. Like, you hammered at Tom as much as you hammered at the practice squad guys, anybody else. Why was that important?
I think it was really important because, and Tom knew it, and Tom brought it to my attention, it enabled him to give more leadership to the offense. Mm-hmm. If I didn't point him out, then everybody walks out there feeling like, well, they got yelled at except for him. But when I could, make points to Tom, then Tom could say, hey, fellas, look, he got after me too. He got after all of us. We got to get it going. And I learned that from Coach Knight. Coach Knight did that with Jordan in the Olympics. And he told Jordan, I'm going to be on you. I'm going to be on you hard, especially on defense, because I know you can take it. Jordan says, bring it on. I just want everybody else to play better. Bring it on. Because if you're yelling at Michael Jordan,
You're like, ain't
everybody else got to come go, And so a lot of times I would tell Tom, hey, Tom, it could get a little rough in there today. Just want to let you know. He goes, well, make sure you include me because I need to be part of it. Don't worry, I'll include you, Tom. Don't worry about that.
Ain't no problem.
You talk about, you have a chapter in your book called Star Players. This chapter 6. And in the start of it, you talk about, you said, to be clear, the challenges that sometimes come along with star players are good challenges to have. Talk a little bit about some of those challenges of having the star player and why those challenges can be good.
Well, one of the funny stories in that book really is the Antonio Brown story. You know, he was only with the Patriots for 11 days. I mean, and he, you know, Tom's very nutrition oriented, and you know, Antonio wanted to. Tom had Antonio come and stay at his house, wanted to embrace him, bring him onto the team, so forth. Went down there, and we actually beat Miami in Miami, which was, you know, that was good. But Antonio ordered milk. He ordered this special milk for Brady. It cost $5,000. $5,000. And to make a long story short, it kind of got mixed up, and it ended up in the mail room for too long. And by the time the milk went bad.
Right.
And so here we are sitting here with milk, and like, all right, well, what will cost $5,000? Oh my God. So we go out and get $5,000 worth of milk, this special milk, and give it to Brady from Antonio, even though it had all, you know, and so now we like turn into like an expense report, like $5,000 worth of milk. I mean, but you know what? Sometimes you just gotta
do it for
the right thing, and I didn't want to ruin the relationship between Brown and Brady on this spoiled milk, so we spent $5,000 to replace this milk. So.
Hey, Coach, you don't cry over spoiled milk either. I guess. along with spilled milk.
You just write out a $5,000 check and get some more.
And Coach, with that thought, like Antonio Brown's, the Randy Moss, because I was down there when y'all brought in Randy.
Yeah.
And some people took a chance on him, and then they went down and set all the records. Randy actually caught 3 on us in Miami that year when they both set the record.
Yeah, and double coverage too. I mean,
Coach,
I know.
Me and the defensive coordinator got in an argument on the sideline because he started cussing us out. Randy could jump 15 feet in the air. Go make a play. I said, Coach, there's nobody else that can jump that high. If he sets his feet, no one can. And Tom knew exactly where to throw it. But no one knows players could like you said, you just gave the players so much credit where you put players in position to make plays. But for those guys that have had, you know, different trouble and different things like that, is that where great coaching comes in, where you can go take a guy and make him look like he was at his prime?
Well, you know, Randy, I think, look, I love Randy. I think Randy was frustrated in Minnesota because he wanted to win probably more than the organization did. He was frustrated in Oakland because he wanted to win more than the organization did. And I think when he got to New England, he felt like they want to win as bad as I do. So, you know the story when I traded for Randy Moss. See, it was in between the draft. It was a 2-day draft, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. And we had to give up a 4th-round draft choice for him, which was the first pick in the Saturday draft at noon. And so when the draft was over, I called Mr. Davis on Friday and said, like, are we going to do this deal? He goes, yeah, I want your 4th-round pick in tomorrow's draft. I'm like, Mr. Davis, it's midnight now, and the draft starts at noon. He goes, well, that's your problem. Like, all right. So I call up, I get Randy's number. I call him up. I said, Randy, this is Coach Belichick. Hangs up on me. Dial him up again. Randy, this is Coach Belichick. Who is this? Who is this a prank? Who is this? This ain't Coach Belichick. Hangs up on me again. Randy, please, hold on, Randy, before you hang up. Hang up. Hold on, we just traded for you. Goes, what do you mean? Yeah, it's, he goes, really? All right. I said, look, you got to get up here tomorrow. We got to redo your contract. You got to take a physical, and we got it all done by noon. He goes, I'm in Houston. I said, well, what do you want to do? He goes, I'll be there. 9 o'clock. He's there. Gets a plane, gets up there, comes in there at 9 o'clock, takes physical, does the contract, and it's all done by noon. We make the trade. Randy said, all right, look, where's the playbook? I said, yeah, we'll get you one. I mean, just signed 5 minutes ago. He said, yeah, we'll get you one, no problem. He goes, yeah, because when I go out there with Brady in the first team, I ain't going to make a bunch of mental errors. I want to know what the plays are. I want to know the checks. I want to know the signals. I want to know everything. So I'm not going to go out there and look like some dummy, all right, with Brady at quarterback and like this guy don't know what to do. He goes, so I want the playbook and I'm going to have everything down by the time we start minicamp. And that was like 3 weeks later. So I said, okay, Randy, look, let's talk about this. I said, look, you know, when we get this post-safety coverage, he goes, Coach, you ain't gonna see any more post-safety coverage. You can forget about post-safety coverage. I said, well, Randy, you know, we just see, he goes, Coach, you ain't gonna see no more post-safety coverage. Okay, I'm just telling you. I'm like, all right. It was, look, here's some things I can do. I said, listen, Randy, I've never been fast, okay? I don't know what it's like to be fast. If I'm running, they catch me. If you're running, I can't catch them. Okay, I don't know what fast is. What do you do when you're the fastest guy on the field? He goes, Coach, you just give me some room and I will go. I said, can you beat the free safety across? He goes, well, if I can, I will, but if I can't, I'll break it back here. He goes, give me an option. He goes, I can attack the deep part of the field. Put me in the slot. I'm like, you want to go in the slot? He goes, yeah, because they can't stop me from the slot. He goes, I ain't going over the middle on a little 2-yard hook route. I'm not doing that. But if you want me to go deep, I can attack the middle of the field from the slot. And so Randy taught me how a fast receiver can attack the defense because we never had anybody like him. And 23 touchdowns or whatever it was. And so I learned so much from Randy about how a fast player can attack the defense.
Coach, is that why you had such an affinity for short white wide receivers?
That's what we didn't have. I mean, I never had a guy like that. Michael Jackson in Cleveland was fast, but Randy was fast and had a lot of experience. It was really, really smart. Yeah. Like he knew how to attack defenses. And what drove him crazy was they would roll up into him and he had a go route and they would yell at him because you're not running full speed. He goes, well, where am I going? The guy's standing right there and there's nothing I can do. I'm just running right into the guy. Give me a chance and I'll run as fast as I can run. And I mean, then we started putting in some deep plays for him where he would run, you know, at the post safety and then break off him, or the half field safety and break off of him, or run right through him on quarters and stuff like that. I mean, he was like, he knew how to attack the deep part of the field, and Tom would just lay it out there.
Coach, to that point, because we got terrified when there was 7 seconds left on the clock, and Tom would look at him and he'd do that, whatever they do, that little hand signal, and Moss would nod his head, and we knew that they knew what we were in. Did you know, like when you have great receivers, or I believe you can see football ahead of me. I speak for Ryan and Fred. Sure. You can see football ahead of us. You don't show any emotion on the sideline, but when you got something, a blitz or Randy Moss on a single high, do you be like, okay, yeah, we got their ass?
Yeah, no, you're sitting there like, this is what we're looking for. This is what we want. You know, you just got to hit it.
Coach, why don't you get excited? Because we get scared, you don't get excited.
After the play. CC, after the play.
You don't really look very excited after the play either, though, Coach. It's like he win the Super Bowl, he's like, that was nice. Good.
No, not after the Super Bowl.
Let's get ready for the draft. Let's go on ahead.
In your chapter on culture, Coach, you said something that's surprising to me. You said that there was no Patriot way, but we heard the phrase all the time. And like you hear the phrase all the time now with any coach or player that's coaching now that played or coached for you. Where did the Patriot way, at least that saying, come from?
I don't know. I think it was a marketing thing. And as I said in the book, I think somebody probably made a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's come to work every day, get better than you were yesterday, and, you know, keep stacking those good days together. Work hard, do your job, put the team first, pay attention to details, and ignore the noise on the way out. Manage expectations. Don't hype things up. Speak for yourself. I mean, those are kind of our pillars, but, you know, it's a commitment towards improving and getting better every single day. And that's really, to me, that's what football is about. You play once a week. You got 6 days to improve and work. And if you waste those days, you're just not going to achieve what you want to achieve on Sunday.
Coach, you were no different, right? You evolved into being the coach that won 6 championships as a head coach of the New England Patriots. But I'm sure many of these pillars were things that were important to you throughout your coaching career. You mentioned earlier how players win games, and you just have to make sure as a coach you don't put them in bad positions. How much different do you have to be as a coach once you realize you no longer have those players that can make a huge difference on the field?
Well, you just try to keep, helping everybody be the best they can be. And some players are more talented than others. I mean, that's, some guys on the practice squad, there's guys on the roster, there's starters, there's all pros, there's Hall of Famers. I mean, they're all different levels, but you just want to keep, improving every single day. And my job as a coach and as a teacher is to help them get better and help the team get better. How do you help the team get better? One thing in the book, I talk about that I think you guys would love. Best key I've ever seen. Best key I've ever seen. Banks comes up to me when I'm the Giants. Banks comes up to me and we're playing the Eagles. And of course, play them twice a year. There's no free agency. So it's the same team every year. Keep playing them over and over and over again. I'm going to have one new guy. We might have one new guy. It's the same thing. Banks comes up to me, says, Coach, I got a key. Now, listen, hold on. But I'm just telling you, I got a key. When Spagnuolo comes up, puts his arm here like this, it's a run. And when he wiggles his fingers, it's a pass. I'm like, come on.
No chance.
Are you kidding me? He goes, I know. But he goes, just check it out. I'm like, all right. So I look at all the end zone film, and I'm like, God, it's unbelievable. Just wiggling his fingers on. All right. I mean, what are you going to say?
Right.
That's 100%. We go play the Eagles. First series, we come off the field, defense, we get a 3-and-out, come off field, and Banks he's still doing it. We play him the next year, or, play him a second time around, go into the game, first series. Coach, he's still doing it. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It was crazy.
He did it for years.
It could be 4th and inches. It could be 3rd and 20, and it's a run.
Wiggle or no
It's
wiggle.
unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Honestly, though, as a player, though, Chan, Fred, when you got one of them, the level of excitement is off the charts.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're like, I'm gone.
One of my best games, one of my most tackles for loss I've had, because Zach Thomas he has a mind like you.
Yeah.
And he told me in the first quarter, if 89's on the ball and 86 steps off in 12, they're running. So just shoot your gap. And I was like, Zach, if I shoot my gap and this tight end goes running down this field, I'm getting cussed out. Go, CC. And I had like 2 or 3 tackles for loss on Thanksgiving Day. It was because he saw a key and he knew the key. So it works.
I have a question. Would you get that many tackles for loss if Matt Light was out there?
Oh, boy.
Me and Coach talked about the Matt Light situation. Coach, did you think I was crazy?
Oh, man.
But even over being in the AFCs, did you think I was crazy? Because you didn't draft me. I was going to ask you about that, too.
We wanted to draft you.
I was supposed to go 32 to the Patriots because y'all won the Super Bowl, and then you took Logan Mankins. It was supposed to be me, and I lost millions of dollars, Coach.
Because of Coach.
He didn't draft me.
He should Dor Sanders you.
If Mankins wasn't there, Mankins played for Pat Hill. Mankins is a hell of a player.
Yes.
I couldn't pass up Mankins.
Hey, he was
I love
amazing.
Mankins.
Yeah.
But you're our kind of player. I mean, big linebacker, athletic, play inside, play outside, blitz. Like we loved you.
You like Mankins more?
Well, look, Mankins played left tackle.
It's important.
Mankins played left tackle. We played him at guard, but he played left tackle 4 years at Fresno State.
Yeah.
So, and he played for Pat Hill. Pat Hill and I coached together at Cleveland. I mean, I just knew Mankins was our guy.
Was a good
and he
coach.
was. I love Mankins. But Light, I love Light. but like, you know, he kind of got everybody, and sometimes you didn't mind seeing somebody get light once in a while. You know what I mean? But that was really one of the greatest scenes of all time, because like they've been going at it, and you knew something was gonna. And finally, like there they go, like they get in a fight, and both of them get thrown out of the game, right? Yeah. And so Light comes over to our bench, you know, and so I'm like, you know, great job, Matt, like, you know, thank you. Now we have no left tackle. This is really going to help us. You know, what the hell are you doing? And so our security guy, Briggs, takes him and walks him down there. And I see CC going down the other sideline. You know, in Miami, there's one tunnel. Yeah. There's one tunnel, right? And so I see him going down. I look down and I see Light going down, and they're turning the corner at the same time. And they each got like a little security guard. It's about 175 pounds. And now they're starting to walk right at each other to the same tunnel to go out. I'm like, Jesus, here we go. Jesus.
Coach sees everything.
Coach, you knew Channing was crazy over there. I do have a question. Outside of Patriots players, the most excited I've ever seen you talk, or excited I've ever seen you be to talk about another player, was Ed Reed. Why were you such a huge fan of one of your biggest opponents and competitors?
Yeah, that guy's so good. He's so good. You know, I knew about him. We drafted a corner who's passed away, Leonard Myers. We drafted him the year before from the University of Miami. And so his rookie year, at the end of his rookie year, like November, December, whatever it was, I said, hey, who's the best player at Miami? You know, got a few guys down there in the draft. Is there anybody that, you know, you think's any good? It was Ed Reed. Best player on the team. I go, well, how good is he? Best player on the team, best player I've ever seen. This guy's a great player. Like, okay. Because I respected Leonard Myers. I mean, he was a pretty smart guy. And I said, okay, it's that good. He goes, yeah, there's nobody even close to him. Nobody even close. All right. So I start watching him. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is, and blocking punts and returning punts and intercepting passes and tackling. You know, he's kind of a tall, skinny guy. He's not that tall, but he's skinny, but he's powerful and he's explosive. He's a good tackler too. And man, is he fast and got good range. And so I'm like, oh man. Then he goes to Baltimore. You know, we didn't get him, of course. And so now he goes to Baltimore. Now we're playing against him in the AFC. And as a punt rusher, I mean, he was just, unblockable. Like, this guy was unblockable. And we had a special protection for him. We had hurricane protection. And if number 20 was on the field, we ran hurricane protection. We double teamed him, and we let somebody else go to get two guys on him. It was ridiculous how good, like, we were scared to death of him. The guy had him on the line, and then the PP had him too. We right. Double teamed him. Hurricane protection. I'm like, oh my God. But they didn't use them all the time on punt rush. I don't know why, but they didn't. And so we'd look out and we'd just run a regular stuff. But if he was out there, special protection for Ed Reed. And then the play he had against Peyton Manning, where he, oh my God, where he, you know, baited him into an interception and everything. Brady and I watched that play. I was like, oh my God, this guy's, I have a ton of respect for him because he could play corner. Yeah. He was a good blitzer. He was a great blitzer. He was unblockable on punt rush. He had great range. If he intercepted the ball, it's probably going to run back for a touchdown because you couldn't tackle him. I mean, he could play, it seemed like, any position on the field.
Yeah. And he was always like that. We graduated 20 minutes from each other in Louisiana in 97. And I remember, Coach, I'd have nights where I had a punt return for a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and they had this show called Friday Night Football. And every week they'd pick an offensive player and a defensive player as like the players of the week. And I remember, man, I'd like the nights I had the game, Coach, I'd be like, Mom, we got to go. Like we got to get home. Like, I know I'm going to be the player of the week this week. Like, I went crazy. And, man, I had my whole family sitting in front of the TV, and then it was time, and it would be like, Ed Reed, 3 touchdowns offensively, threw for a touchdown, caught 2 touchdown passes, a punt return for a touchdown, forced fumble, 3 picks. I used to be like, golly.
Who is he
I
playing?
was like, clearly they got double numbers. Ain't no way he does this every single week. And then he went to Miami, did the same thing, does the same thing in Baltimore, Coach. Like, you were right. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest football players that has ever lived. But I always found it actually just refreshing for someone of your stature to be able to appreciate an opponent in the way that you did.
You know, one thing I always respected, because, you know, when I was on the, in 2019, you know, I was on the 100th anniversary and we picked, you know, guys for the Hall of Fame and, you know, the all-time team and all that. It's hard to compare those players to the current players because those guys went both ways. And, you know, we specialize. But I've always loved the players who are truly two-way players. You know, like Lawrence Taylor, that guy could have played wherever you want on offense, too. Tight end, running back. I mean, he could have put him at guard if you wanted to. I mean, honest to God. You know, Ed Reed, he could have played offense. He could have played defense. He would have been great in any era, whether it be the 2000s or the 1930s. He could have played in any era. And I have a lot of respect for those players that could have played the game and been great, you know, either time.
Coach, speaking of respect, though, you get the respect as one of the greatest coaches of all time, right? And a lot of times what goes unnoticed is what you do for guys away from the game, off the field. Like, in my mind, I go back to those moments that, you know, you were double down on, hey, guys, when you're away from this building, this is how you're supposed to handle yourself. This is what you're supposed to do or not do. And you saved a lot of people. Like, we had a lot of idiots in the locker room, and you saved a lot of guys' lives. But you were developing them not only into great players that could help us win, but into young men, into men, right? So I guess with that, I want to get to or ask you, what excites you most about working with the young guys again down at NC? Is it you know, an opportunity to develop them, you know, into men? Is it more of that more than anything else?
That's definitely a great part of it. You know, those kids are very impressionable and they want to be good. They want to be in the NFL. And so, and they don't have a lot of bad habits. Now, they don't have some of the skills, you know, that the NFL players have, obviously. But they don't have bad habits and they want to be good. So they're very coachable. They work hard and they put a lot into it. And, you know, we had, like this year in the off-season program, we trained for 3 months from mid-January to mid-April. And we gained 469 pounds of muscle and lost 169 pounds of fat. Well, that's pretty good buy-in from the team. Like, they're really trying, they're really working hard. And so I have a ton of respect for that. And it's great, you know, and as a coach, it was great to see guys, you know, like Brady, like Edelman, like guys like that you draft, Matt Light, you know, come in as rookies and, you know, rookies, and then become fathers, men, you know, kind of pillars of the community. And that was very satisfying. But it's interesting for the young guys to watch them. No, I'm just getting started there, but to see their growth through, you know, 4 years of college and how they come from being high school kids who, you know, when they enroll early in the spring, I mean, those guys are really still in high school. And then, you know, they're going to come out and, you know, hopefully go into the NFL.
And that Julian Edelman, he is probably, other than Tom, he has to be like one of your, like, top projects, because he was about to walk himself off the plank during his rookie year. I mean, you dug into him, and he was just ready to crack. You know, a couple times he hopped in the car with me, and I tried to talk him off. But what you guys did with Edelman and what he turned into is, I mean, obviously it's one of the greatest football stories ever. Why did you push him so hard? What did you see?
He was a great competitor, and you know, you did that for us. You know, in the years you were there, you did a great job of mentoring those guys, especially the running backs. You know, that was just your maturity, your professionalism, and you know, your leadership, your toughness. It's hard, you know, it's hard, and you got to embrace the grind and the toughness of it. And so, but Julian did that. You know, he's a great competitor. Steve Neal's another one. You know, Steve Neal never played football, never played high school football, didn't play college football. He wrestled, and then when we got him, I mean, he didn't know where the huddle was. And we get to the end of the play, and he's like, "Where do I go?"
Right.
"Oh, Steve, you go back here with these guys. We'll tell you what to do." "Oh, okay." He started for us for 7 years. I mean, you talk about a guy that improved and embraced coaching and embraced training and learned how to be a football player. I mean, for guys who never played football, Sebastian Vollmer played in Germany. He only played 2 years down there at Houston. I mean, guy was became a great player. Like those guys that have that work ethic, that drive, that toughness, they were our kind of players. They really were our kind of players.
And Coach, I'm not gonna let you be modest forever. You were the head coach and GM. A lot of chefs don't buy their groceries and cook them. How much harder is that to do both things? Because, Coach, is there anybody that does what you did with they call it de facto GM, but you were picking your players, knowing what you wanted, and coaching them. And now in college, because with the NILs, you kind of have to do the same thing. Pick those guys that you can mold into those players. Like, why do you want to do that, I guess I'm asking?
Well, it's more than a one-man job. CC, it really is. I had Scott Pioli, I had Nick Caserio, I had, Mike Lombardi. Like, you got to have somebody to do the personnel. You can't coach and be the personnel. There's just not enough time. You just can't do a good enough job. And so, we collaborated together. Here's the type of players we're looking for. They found them, and in the end, we might, again, collaborate on, hey, which one, what's the decision, who do we want, and this type of thing, who would fit better for us. But those guys really handled the personnel side of it, the trades, and there's a lot of legwork that goes with that stuff. You just don't, show up and do it without doing all the homework and background work. So I had a lot of great people on my staff. Guys like Josh McDaniels and Brian Dable, and, just go right down the line. Scott O'Brien. I mean, and at Cleveland, I had Saban, I had Kirk Ferentz, I had Pat Hill. Those guys were, they were great coaches, and I learned a lot from them.
Okay,
really
Coach.
did.
So
Dante Scarnecchia.
6'3", 245-pound linebacker, All-American that runs a 4.5. You still didn't draft him in the first round. I'm sorry.
Can't get over this Logan Mankins thing.
Hey, killing him, Coach. I do have a question for you, and it kind of comes from listening to you talk about all of the coaches who went on to have successful careers as head coaches and continue to coach for a very long time that, you said you learned from, but they also worked with and under you. A lot of us get an opportunity to have that football role model. Not a lot of us have that football role model in the house. Page 106, which is the age your father would be right now, is dedicated to your father. Talk a little bit about what influence he had on you and your love for football.
Yeah, my dad grew up in a steel town. There was kind of no way out for him except for football. And he was a good football player, so he got an opportunity to go to college, got a college education, played professionally for a year before World War II started, served in the Navy in Great Lakes, and then became a coach. And so football has been great to him, great to my family, and provided great opportunities for me and my kids. He's the ultimate team player. He was a coach that they said, Steve, we need you to go on the road and scout the next opponent that we play. So he never saw Navy play except for the last game of the year against Army. Wow. He would go on the road and come back and, this is what the team did. Well, back in those days, there was you only got one look at the play. There was no replay boards. There was no TV. There was no nothing. You got one look at the play. What happened? What was the blocking scheme? What coverage were they in? Who blitzed? What was the pass pattern? And so he became very good at it, wrote a book about it. And then, I went with him and I learned, and you only get one look at the play. You got to, train your eyes. You got to see punt returns, kickoff returns. What's the blocking? Who are they trapping? Who are they double teaming? Are they setting a wall? What are they doing? And you got one look at the play. That's it. But that's the way it is as a coach, at least it was. And that's the way it is in practice, right? You get one look at the play and you correct the players, because if you don't see it, you can't make the correction. So I learned a lot from him in terms of how to watch the game, how to study, how to prepare for the game. And then I would go with him when he presented to the team. He would present the scouting report to the team, and then he would watch film of the team, and he would say, "Hey, here's these tips. Look, see the way this guy's stance is. You know, he's going to the right. See the way his stance is, going to the left. See this guy. You know, here he's going to tighten down his split. He's going to double team block." And I started to process some of that together. And look, if you love the game, which I do, and you're not a good player, which I wasn't, then you're a coach.
Then you coach.
You're a coach. So that worked out.
Those who can't do it, teach it. And Coach, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't read the book yet. I'm gonna read it if you give me a free copy because I'm cheap. But Coach, what's the biggest, not even as a coach, not sports, what's the biggest misconception about the man Bill Belichick?
I don't know. What's the conception? I mean, when you say misconception, I don't know. What is it like? I don't know.
You don't listen to what people say about him.
You're unpersonable. You're an asshole. You're not nice. You're put in the corner. You're a hermit. Like what? Like the part. You know how people, and your press conferences. Hey, coach, this is it. Well, we're just gonna win the next game. The mumbles. Like I know you different than most people know you.
Yeah.
What? I would say.
Well, then you can answer that question better than I can.
Coach, what?
You can answer the question. You guys answer the question.
Coach,
you know what's out there. You know me. So what's the answer?
I try to tell everybody that, as what Channing is alluding to, they get this, like in the media, this staleness or whatever. But in the team meeting room, it's like you're light. It's about business. It's about if you do your job, we can have a good time with this. And it's jokes occasionally here and there. I had a great time in the building. You know, I didn't have a problem with it. I'm like, coach was doing his job. That's a part of him playing chess as a head coach. Like, not showing any weaknesses. I'm not going to give you this information. I don't care about you fucking morons out there. That was the other piece. But, you know, I care about this team. That's what matters most.
And, Coach, I'll tell you, when I came on my visit to New England before the draft, it was, we can't say the Patriot way. I don't know what we're going to say, but it was very to the moment. So
we were getting our money's worth on those visits.
Okay.
We were getting our money's worth. We were going to interview you with this guy, that guy, the nutritionist, the weight coach, the special teams coach, the position coach, this guy, that guy, scouts, everything. I mean, we were getting our money's worth on that one.
And I had to be in the van at 8 o'clock or 7 a.m. At 6:55, somebody knocked on my door, and the guy stood outside my door to pick me up. But I don't know if you remember, because now your son, who's a coach, and he's coaching with you, we ate lunch together, and it blew my mind because I'm thinking, I'm going to New England, it's Bill Belichick, and I'm trying to be this perfect soldier, and I walk in your office, and your son's in there, and you were like, hey, Channing, you want something? I didn't know what to say. I was like, I'll eat. And I was so nervous doing it. So that's what I'm saying. We know you different, but I think that people haven't seen you as a person, and now I think they're starting to see you as a person. And I think it's
like on the roast.
It's throwing people off, Coach. It's throwing people off to see Bill Belichick not as a robot. It's kind of like we just had Paul George on talking about Kawhi Leonard. People thought you were an alien. I know you're not an alien, but I'll tell people Bill Belichick's not an alien.
You know, Coach, I think, you know, to Fred's point, I honestly got to know you in a different way this year because I didn't play with you.
Yeah.
You know, and I would always tell people, I was like, he's so much more positive than I thought. I thought you would, and you're always analyzing and you're working to be aware and understand, but when something was good, you always said it was. You weren't walking around trying to be like this steely sort of pessimist or contrarian. You were able to say, nah, like this is good. Or when we'd watch film and you'd see something, you were able to say, okay, and analyze it and be like, no, like that's not the way that's supposed to be done. Or that's not the way I'd do it. Or that's not certain things that I've learned or coach. I do, in part of like Channing's question, and maybe you don't care, so you can say that as well, but how would you like to be remembered for the things that you've contributed to the game?
What I try to do and what I hope I come across as is to do my part for the team, do what I can do to help the team. Well, that was as a I wasn't even on the totem pole when I started. I was below the totem pole. But wherever you are on the totem pole, if you're at the bottom as like a GA analyst type of thing, or whether you have a position of coach or you're a coordinator or you're a head coach, like we all have important jobs to do, and we can't win unless everybody does them. And we all know how important it is for, guys in the training room, guys in the equipment room, guys on the practice squad, for everybody to contribute. I remember when we had, Damon Heward, and one of the things that was really hard was playing against Peyton Manning, obviously. And Damon Heward went out there and he was Peyton Manning. And we beat the Colts in the playoffs. And I gave Damon Heward a game ball. He didn't even play, but he helped the team by helping the defense, get ready, because he gave us a great look at the way Manning, check plays and did his thing and so forth. And so it's whatever role you have on the team, I've just always tried to embrace it and do the best I can. And I felt like that's what my dad did, and I've kind of took that from him, I guess.
And Coach, your role on the team with Jordan, I saw you doing yoga. Saw you with your legs up in there, Coach. Are you enjoying this? Because there's no way I thought that I would see Bill Belichick doing yoga on the beach.
Trying to stay young.
It's fun. Like, you can have fun. It's almost like you're fighting the fun. Have fun, Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of his many pivots, because we always ask our guests what's their biggest pivot, right? That's that, one moment you can go look back on and say, without this happening to me or happening for me, I wouldn't be, who I am today. And it might even be in your book.
I'd say a couple of big moments for me was when Coach Perkins hired me as a special teams coach for the Giants in '79. To be a coordinator your fourth year in the league, I know it's special teams, but I mean, even at that point in time, special teams had a much bigger impact in the game than it does now, where every kickoff's a touchback, and so that was a lot of responsibility, and that was a big step, and I certainly appreciate the confidence he showed in me. And then when Coach Parcells became the head coach and the Giants and made me the coordinator, that was another big step, and that was one that I was young. I think there was some questions, was I ready? Could I do it? And so forth. But he showed a lot of confidence in me, and so that was a big one too. And then, I would say just really the moment was probably Super Bowl 36, where the Rams were, they were a great team. If we had played them 10 times, they probably would have won most of them. But that day we were a little better than they were. That day, week before, we were a little better than Pittsburgh was. The week before, we were a little better than Oakland was on the snow game. And, 49-yard field goal and 4 inches of snow. I mean, what a play that was. And so, I was fortunate to be there at some moments when Vinatieri made the kick and Tylon made the interception and Troy Brown returned a punt. And, Brandon Mitchell blocked a field goal at return for a touchdown against Pittsburgh. And, things really went right. And that kind of, once you win that first Super Bowl, there's just kind of a whole different level of, confidence and, moxie and everything that just comes together on your team. And so, I was pretty fortunate. But look, to be able to coach Lawrence Taylor and Tom Brady, the linebackers I had at the Giants, I had Taylor, Banks, Pepper Johnson, Harry Carson. A lot of people coach those four guys now. Doesn't make anybody a good coach.
Adelius, Coach, I can go through them now.
Yeah, I know you can.
Because he picked them and not you.
Now, some of those I picked.
Yeah.
And so I was glad. I'm glad,
Yeah.
I'm glad I had opportunity to coach Brady, but I picked Brady. So at least, so I'm glad that I had the opportunity to coach those guys. Matt Slater's another one. Probably the best special teams player of all time. Man. To coach those three guys, whether you want to call them the best or whatever, but they're right up there. They're right up there. That's a great thrill as a coach to be able to coach guys that are that good.
Well, Coach, I normally do this very early. I'm going to cut the room off before it ends.
I knew it was coming.
I always cut the room off by people that's won championships, Coach. Being that our two friends have never gone to any, they don't really understand what it's like to complete that journey.
Is this nice of a teammate, Coach?
This is when you learn that timing is everything. Because before I got to New England, you guys had gone to a Super Bowl, and like a year after I left, I think you went to 3 in 5 years. I'm like, what the is going on?
Hey, so Freddie T was the problem.
He was dragging the team.
Freddie T was the problem.
I can guarantee you I wasn't.
But Coach, I thank you for your time. Everybody go out, get this book. You know what I mean? It's The Art of Winning by Bill Belichick, already a New York Times bestseller. It's not just for football people, it's for people who want to win at life, people who want to win in business. So many of the principles in this book will help you and can allow you to excel in whatever endeavor or whatever goal it is you wish to accomplish. And honestly, Coach, man, just thank you for your time. I know you're busy. I know you're moving around, but this is something we've wanted to do for an extremely long time, Coach.
Thanks for the opportunity, Ron. I appreciate it. It was so much fun working with you last year inside the NFL.
Yes, sir.
Coaching you and competing against UCC. Yes, man, I'm sorry it didn't work out at New England. I mean, it was really close.
Coach, it wasn't that close.
It was that close.
But we got to come.
I appreciate our friendship and our relationship.
Yes, sir. And we got to come to UNC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us know when the pivot is invited to UNC. We got to come up there and see.
You're invited. Open the invitation. And come down and see us.
And everybody remember, before the season ended, I got Coach to wear a two-tone coat. This is the pivot. Pivot fam, thank y'all for pivoting with us. That was good, man. That was good. Andrew Schultz, welcome to the pivot.
Thank you very much, guys. This is very exciting.
This is Fred Taylor. It's
I know
Channing
him very
Crowder.
well.
I'm RC, Pivot fam. Thank you for pivoting. So me and you, as people may not know, they don't. We've texted a little bit over the last week.
Tell them how we've been organizing the whole thing from the beginning.
Well, so initially, I don't know if Charlamagne told you, but he messaged me.
He told me that you told him you wanted me to make jokes about black women. And then I was like, all right, if Ryan wants to do it, I'll do it. And then it was crazy. And then this whole internet thing happened. And I was like, but Ryan asked for this. Never trust a guy from South Carolina. I mean, that's what
I'm from New Orleans. That's a good thing.
Well, Charlamagne's from South Carolina.
Actually, I do appreciate, though, like all jokes aside,
yes,
I do appreciate the way, you've conversed and communicated with me about little things leading up to this.
Sure. And thank you for texting me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've almost wished that we could have spoke immediately. I think that might have, would maybe clear some things up.
Well, I think the first thing, and I said it because we talked about it recently, because you said something, to Shannon and you talked to Charlamagne. I was like, everything that you say about me is fair to me. Like, you have an opportunity to rebuttal, respond to anything, because when I spoke about you, it wasn't something that was addressed to me.
Right.
I involved myself.
Right.
I understand this game, these platforms, is that he's gonna respond, and he should.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with that. What was, in your responding, because it's been a while, what made you finally say something? Were you just asked about it, or?
I forget exactly what happened on Shannon. I'm sure that the cognac had something to do with it. You get loose on that Shannon Sharp podcast. No, I don't know why exactly I responded there, because I didn't respond on any other thing, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe I said something since. I was looking back at the response, and I thought that it was unfair how I framed the thing. I've texted you this, so it's weird to have this conversation in person, even though we've already texted. So I thought it was unfair that I was like, you said that I said the N-word or something like that, or wanted to say the N-word. So which wasn't what you said. I'm sure everybody's probably seen that clip that listens to the podcast right now. But I think it seemed as if you were trying to explain these things that are troubling for you culturally. My initial reaction was obviously this thing why is he talking about this and me right now? What is the moment? And that's why I thought it was clout. And then when you text me, you're like, I have a lot of black women that are in my life that are going, hey, you need to address this, you need to understand this, and you need to protect us. And I was like, okay, I get that. It's more of a protective instinct. And I was like, okay, I understand where that's coming from. And I think that's noble. I'm fine with that. And people are allowed to react however they want to jokes. I think that's a misconception with comedians that you have to like our jokes. I didn't even think the joke was that good. But it was, I didn't think it was that good, but it was a joke. And the intention was to make people laugh. And I think the issue I had with what you said was that I felt it was framed as if like I was unaware of these things that you were saying. You were like, I want to tell you what like black women mean to me. And then you told like beautiful stories about like, you know, your mother and what she did for you and like your wife and what she was doing for you when your health was bad, you know what I mean? And I'm listening to this and I'm like, wow, like black women will do anything for their children and they'll do anything for their husband when they're sick. And I was like, I think my mom and wife are black.
I get the joke.
I
get the joke.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like,
the other piece of it too, Andrew, is that white women haven't been under attack in this country for their entire existence, right?
Yeah,
so it wasn't about the nobility of it for me, right? It was about that in this platform where I have a space, where I have a voice, this is something that has been said. This is something that is being circulated.
Yeah.
And if the two black men that were sitting across from you would have addressed it a different way, even if they would have maybe laughed and it felt like a joke, right? It was an uncomfortable situation where what you said was neither refuted or agreed to, and it wasn't presented as a joke. And in the same space where I feel like if you're sitting on flagrant...
You don't think I presented it as a joke?
It didn't feel like a joke.
Oh.
Right? Like anything you do in stand-up, when you are doing stand-up, like I watched your stand-up, I enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, like this is funny. And when you're talking about the Latina nurse and all those things, I was like, I get it, right? Because in jokes, whether we go back to Wanda or Shanae, right, we're gonna do the extreme of the stereotype, right? I get that. In that conversation, and all jokes, and you know this, like you've been punched in the face on stage before, right? All jokes are really as funny as the people who comprehend them and digest them.
I would debate that, obviously, but however somebody takes a joke, they're right. If you don't find something funny, you're right. You're allowed to react however you want to whatever I say. The tricky thing is when like we start trying to decide what the intention is. Because my intention is always like, when I'm making a joke, is to make people laugh, to bring joy to the world. And sometimes, as you've seen with my special, I'm making jokes about myself for an hour about like really vulnerable, f***ed up shit. And then sometimes I'm making jokes about a culture that I go visit. I go to Abu Dhabi and I make fun of all of them in an arena out there, and it's this big fun experience. And I've done that for like the last almost 20 years. And I've built this audience, and if you come to one of my shows, it's by far the most diverse audience in all of comedy. And I mean that of any comedian. It's by far, you know? So it's like, clearly, I'm talking about cultures in a way where they don't feel bullied, they feel seen. And I don't think that that joke represented that when I said it on the pod. But my concern was, I think the way that you reacted, it was like that I was like ignorant. And you can call me a lot of things. You can call me insensitive, like call me not funny, call me whatever. But ignorant is one thing that I would disagree on. I think like I'm pretty aware and pretty curious guy. And like, I'm curious because I genuinely want to know about people. And I think that's often reflected in the comedy. That joke, it's like, for me, it is a joke. It's not like the intention is like, how can I put this information out about black women on the internet? It was like, I hate explaining jokes, but I'm literally just doing a typical joke formula, which is like, we have one idea of one thing and then what's the opposite of it, right? And I understand there's like a sensitivity to these like stereotypes or tropes, and like the joke wasn't funny enough for like how much it hurt people. I get that, and they're entitled to however they want to feel about it. I don't like it going into the territory of like, that's how he really feels, and he's just using it as like a smoke screen to say how he really feels. It's like, no, how I really feel is I just want us all to laugh.
What happened is like, you're saying that like I spoke on a joke in a way that you don't think was fair, when if you listen to me, I used your joke to say something I wanted to say anyway.
Let me clarify. However you react is fair.
Right. But my point is, I didn't paint you as anything. I said, Andrew Schultz said this.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my experience, right? Like when I watch Life, right? When I'm sitting in my son's house watching Netflix, I'm saying, Andrew Schultz is telling this story about the journey of him and his wife to conceive their child.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
It's not my job now, right, to go, but let me tell you about how it is to have children with black women. That's not my job, right?
Sure,
because
sure.
you were doing a performing art, which you were giving to us for entertainment by being vulnerable, right? I understood that.
Yeah.
And so in what you did, it was like, okay, no, I'm not refuting what you said, because I don't know your experiences, right? I got away from Andrew Schultz and I got to black women. And I think my bigger problem is if you can, based on whatever reason you want to, right, say, hey man, I'm gonna give you my experience with my wife that I love.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me saying I'm gonna give you my experience with black women who I love?
I feel like you keep saying that you think that I think you're wrong. You're right to say whatever you want to say. However you feel is fine. What I feel is that, like, you were positioning me in a way that I don't think is consistent with me. Like, I know that black mothers love their kids and they'll do anything for them, just like Chinese mothers do, just like Latin mothers do, right? Like, that's the relationship a mother has with their kid. You know, I mean, you're mixed, right? Your mom is white or your dad's?
Mom's white.
Your mom's white. Like, I bet she really loved you. I bet she didn't love you any less because she's white. Like, you're everything to her. She'd probably do anything. I know my mom stopped going to school. She's 14 years old. She, like, comes to America from Scotland and she, like, builds a life and she would do anything for us. Like, so I don't think that's like a thing that's idiosyncratic to black women. I think that's like a woman-mom thing. It's really beautiful. So as you were explaining these things, it was like, to me, how I felt, how I interpreted it, might not be what you intended, but like my interpretation was like, he's positioning me in a way as if I'm not aware of this thing and that people are capable of like immense beauty and care and concern and empathy. And it's like, if you feel like you have to explain that to me, you must think that I don't think that already about black women or all women, or you think that like I think that way about white women and don't about black women. So that's why I'm like, whoa, like.
Yeah, I think what you're missing is.
Does that make sense?
And I want to say this in like the least combative way possible.
Sure.
You know, what you're missing is I don't care about you. Right? Like in that
Probably a little bit less combative way of saying that, but yeah, sure.
In that moment, Andrew Schultz was a nameless gray face.
Sure.
Right? It wasn't, I didn't want to attack you. I didn't want people to come to you and be like, well, Ryan Clark said you're a racist. Like, I would never say that, because me, who never actually says, hey, white people are this, when I step up for black women the way I did, you know what I got? You're a racist. Right?
Yeah, people are saying that. Yeah,
right. And so,
which is unfair too.
And if I, 2020, George Floyd, I'm like, look, man, I get that there's a criminal system, but doing this to any man is not okay.
That's right. Yeah, you brought up the Alton Sterling thing
too. But when you do that, right, from whether it's conservatives, Republicans, the right, white people in general, you're a racist. When I never, in any fact, ever say anything about my own color being superior to anybody, which is what racism stems from, right? And so I get what you're saying, that like I never painted you as anything, but as being somewhere, right? And I've dealt with this recently. When you are aware. Right? And when you do feel like you are compassionate and you do try to understand people, right? And they paint you as a certain thing, you feel that they paint you as a certain thing. Yeah. You're like, I'm not that, and that bothers me in some way.
Did you feel like I did that about you, or you did that about me?
No, I'm saying, because you keep saying I painted you some way, which I didn't. Right? I didn't say much about you.
I didn't say, I thought that your juxtaposition, meaning the fact that you're like, let me explain what the black woman experience is for me, made me feel, it's just a feeling, like made me feel as if you thought that I didn't already know that.
Have you dated black women before?
Sure.
And in your dating black women, did black women beat you?
No, Ryan, I think you're missing the point here. Like, do you think that's what I think of black women? Maybe we should start there.
No.
Okay, so then.
Here's the thing. Yeah. I don't know.
So, well, that's different than no.
Black women, right? I don't know, because I don't know you. What I do know is, in that moment, in this small clip I saw of Andrew Schultz, this is what he said. Now, let me tell you what I didn't say, right? Yes. I didn't say Andrew Schultz thinks that all black women are angry. I didn't say Andrew Schultz thinks that black women are abusive. I didn't say that Andrew Schultz is a racist.
You didn't say racist, but, well, I don't want to.
I never said that, right? And in my conversation, I spoke about the two men that were sitting with you, right? And here's what happens. when you deal in the life that I deal in.
Yeah.
Right? When I say something about unarmed black people getting killed, what do I get? Well, what about black crime in Chicago?
It's a red herring.
Right, it's a red herring.
It's used to distract and like kind of cut the legs out from your point. It's got to be very frustrating. And
Right.
you're
but
taking...
my point
Yeah.
about that was, right, when these guys are sitting with you and that is said to people, not you, to people who may see that and may see them sitting there, they'll go, well, Andrew Schultz made this joke about black women, and there were 2 black men sitting across from him, and in no way did they refute it. This must be true. I can go behave like he behaves.
Got you. So that's the concern, that you think that somebody would see that joke and then feel like it's okay to do that.
Yes.
Got it. So you felt you need to address it to thwart that so you could protect black women from experiencing that in the future.
Andrew too, man, it's like, as, you know, we talked about it, because I said, bro, I didn't even think it was gonna be this big. It's part of any healing process, right? You put peroxide on a wound to clean it out in hopes that it heals.
Yeah.
In the same way, whatever black women may have heard that, who may have been affected by it, who may have felt cut down, who may have wished that those 2 black men defended them, whether it was a joke or not, right? Whoever had that wound, just maybe they hear me, and for once they was like, man, at least that dude stood up for us.
And then,
At least somebody who had that experience stood up for us.
That must have felt good for some people.
I didn't care to paint you in any way, which is why I didn't continue talking about you.
It doesn't really matter what your intention was. It matters how you make someone feel. That's what the whole issue is with the joke. Like, if you said, I didn't care to do this, I don't care about you, none of that matters. It didn't matter that I didn't care to hurt black women, I just wanted to make a joke. It hurt them. So it doesn't matter whether you cared to do something or not. What matters is you did something and it had that effect. So ironically, the thing that you're describing to me is the same position you put yourself in. So what I'm trying to tell you is people are gonna react however they react, and they feel however they feel, and that's okay. Like, as a comedian, I accept that. I hope that people maybe learn more about me and they see that, like, I don't have bad intentions for people, and I make fun of everybody, because if I don't make fun of one group, then it becomes uncomfortable. Then it starts to become racist or sexist or whatever, you know? I hope that they learn that. But I understand as I get there, we're gonna have these little things that we stumble across, and, like, unfortunately, people's feelings are gonna be hurt, and it sucks. And if, like, anybody came up to me like, hey, that thing that you said, you know, I didn't know you were joking, it didn't feel like you were joking, it really hurt my feelings, I'd be like, dude, I'm sorry, I don't wanna hurt your feelings again. But if then they said to me, hey, don't you ever make jokes about that again, I go, I can't let you control what I make jokes about. I can hope and aspire to make them so that everybody laughs. But I don't think it's fair to, like, limit what we can joke about. I think one thing we often say is, like, you can only joke about the experiences you've had. But I don't know if that's true, because, like, we were laughing at Handyman when we were younger, right? He wasn't retarded. None of us are retarded. But we laugh at these things all the time. So you can't tell me White Chicks isn't a funny-ass movie.
It's hilarious.
They're not white women. Why are they allowed to make that joke? Because it's funny. We know it's well-intentioned. They're not trying to, like, hurt people's feelings. There might be some white women, they're like Karens, and they watch that movie and like, how the f could you do that? That really hurt me. They're allowed to feel that way. We might disagree, but I'm not gonna remove their agency as comedians to be able to, like, do these things. So naturally, sometimes people's feelings get hurt. And that's based on the experience they had. You have daughters, you have this wife that you love. You know, we have these situations in our life that we, like, really want. We have sensitivities to certain things, you know what I mean? Like, my dad has dementia. When I hear jokes about that, I probably think about my dad, and it's probably maybe a little less funny to me than somebody who doesn't have any connection to it. And there might be moments where it's, like, way funnier, you know? There's all these different things. So what I don't want to do is start going, like, you have to have lived that exact experience in order to talk on it. Because I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's good for comedy.
Yeah, I don't think it's good for comedy. I mean, it's not good in life, right? Because I haven't actually lived the black woman experience, right?
Yeah, that's a good point,
You
too.
know, and
Yeah.
so I wasn't trying to tell you that in any way. I think the thing that's true about what you said is, you know, you talk about intent impact. I talk to my kids about it all the time. I do know in it, my intent was, I had no intention on protecting your ability to joke. I had no intention on making sure everyone knew it was a joke. I had no intention on telling people or showing people that I enjoy all comedy. I do think it's extremely fair for you to talk about black women. I do.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, how many jokes do we make about white women, or how many jokes do, like, that is part of comedy.
And keep making them.
And it was the,
It's funny,
right,
it's great that we all do
raw and delirious. Those are all my
Amazing.
favorite,
Like-
right? And so I do understand that just in this case, like you said, the intent and impact, it felt differently.
Yeah.
That was why I addressed it.
I don't believe you're racist.
Oh,
I found it offensive, right, because of the experiences.
Sure.
Maybe even if it was directed at another group of women.
Yeah.
I probably found it a little bit offensive. But
Okay.
again, it's a joke.
Sure.
But always, comedians, they ride on the borderline of, I can say this because I am a comedian.
Yeah.
Right?
Or I would hope it's like we could say it if it's funny. And then when it's not funny,
but because
we take the
even
blowback.
whether it's funny or not, like, I know a lot of comics who, like, they say, well, I'm a comedian, I can say what I want. You know what I mean? So my
Yeah.
question is this.
Yeah.
If you weren't a comedian,
Yeah.
would you have felt comfortable saying the same thing, even with
That's a
your
good question.
experience?
No, that's
because
yeah,
I think
great question.
earlier today I heard Chelsea Handler speak about her experiences with white men.
Yeah.
She can't keep or get a white man because
yeah.
they feel she's too much like them. She's more of a man, you know, like more masculinity
Yes.
or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's what she said. She was like, I'm too tough for white men.
So what is she needs? What, a gay guy? Like what?
Nah, she ain't say that. But she says black men can handle her.
Yeah, I think she's kind of sneak calling y'all gay a little bit.
I don't think so.
You
No, I mean, it's tough.
That's a little
because
crazy.
it goes back to black men being able to handle the black women.
There's
who
an
a lot of
assumption-
times are considered tough.
I think there's
They
an
don't take no
assumption of
shit.
masculinity with black men that there's maybe not with white men. As I sit here with my legs crossed and my pants almost at my knees.
That is wild, bro. This is,
I'm trying to dress like Ryan.
I'm gonna be honest.
I got
Ryan,
grilled at the beginning
I'll
of the
be honest.
pod. I thought we were gonna like warm up into this.
hey, RC would never sit like that.
What about my 24-karat white gold pendant?
You know what? The only
That's
thing,
actually kind of hard. Also, too, who put that together for you? Like, who?
I did that shit like 20 minutes ago.
everything minus the tube sock.
Yeah, the tube sock's a little
That's
crazy.
it.
I didn't know what color to go with.
No, seriously, I
But-
guess
but
the
to-
bigger question
To your I think it was a great question.
It's
like if you weren't a
borderline
comedian, would you?
and being able to say,
So I definitely think that like comedians take more creative liberties, you know, just like a filmmaker would take more creative liberties, or like a TV show writer would take more creative liberties. Like the relationship with people on any of our favorite TV shows is more exaggerated than like in a relationship in real life, for example. Like two neighbors, they're not gonna get into like screaming matches in the hallway. Usually you don't even talk to your fucking neighbors, frankly. You know what I mean? But in the TV show, it's like, oh, this is gonna be fun if it's contentious. So I think comedians in that way, we are like kind of like playing with that line. It's definitely something I've liked to do my whole career. And I think the reason is probably comes from like, I want to feel like the laughs are earned. So if I say something that's like, and we've all seen people do this all the time, like pandering, like they go up there, like, give it up for God.
right.
And it's like, what am I supposed to do? Boo? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, and then like, or they'll say shit like, yeah, ladies, y'all are the smartest, or something like that. Or like, man, we're so fucking dumb. And it's like, it's a little bit more pandering. To me, I'm like, I don't know if the joke earned the laugh or those people are just kind of agreeing. So in my life, in my career, kind of what I've done is I've taken topics that are like very edgy, potentially edgy, that's like word is overused, and then spoke on that, and often things that people disagree with on the premise, but if I'm funny enough, I can get you to flip.
Right.
And the process of that, like when I'm working it out in a comedy club for months, it bombs, it gets bad reactions. People are like, that joke's f***ed up, that's offensive, like the exact thing that like you guys reacted to what I said on that podcast. And then after like months, it's like, oh wait, that's clever, that's good. Or sometimes you just throw the joke away because it's not there. But it's this like process of like slowly refining and refining and refining and getting the joke good. Like a joke is a statue and a podcast is like throwing around lumps of clay. And sometimes the lump of clay looks good. Like, I'm sure you guys experience this all the time. You're f***ing around, you're saying some shit about a game or whatever like that, and then it broadcasts to millions of people, and then one of the players sees it and they're like, yo, why the f*** are you talking about me like that? That's crazy. Like, man, I didn't even mean, you had that shit with Ty, whatever, when you called him a stripper. Tua, yeah, with Tua. Yeah, and then like, I'm sure you were just like, man, I'm hanging out with the boys, I'm gonna say this wild shit. Like, And I bet if he was in the room and you said it, he's dying laughing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, and you would have said it if he's in a room, and you would have been ripping him. He'd be like, man, whatever, I'm just eating good or whatever. Like, it's fun. But once the internet gets a hold of it, now it looks like you're bullying this guy, and like he wasn't in on it, and he's reacting to the reactions. When in reality, if he was right in the room, you would have said the exact same thing, and he would have known your intention was laughter.
Right.
Right? And it gets back to our intention thing, which doesn't matter. It just matters how it makes people feel. So I think the thing is, like, comedians, we're looking for that often boundary, or we're looking to like push that thing. And maybe a non-comedian wouldn't have said that in that moment.
Right.
But I think that like a comedian, we gotta shoot. Like, I gotta shoot. And I think Patrice O'Neal is like the greatest of all time to me. He's like, you can't take away our right to shoot. Because once we stop shooting, we only shoot layups, we only shoot the shots that we know that are gonna go in. The art form falls apart. We gotta take these risks, and it's like, you would hope that people give you leeway, but you can't make them give you leeway. And that's like a really important thing. People are entitled to, like, you being like offended by it, that's okay. That's just, if I'm at the comedy club and I see that reaction, I go, I gotta get this joke better. If I'm saying it and it's crushing, I'm like, okay, this is in a good place. I got this joke about, this is an old time ago, but here's an example of, like, I'm not Mexican at all, but like, there's a joke about like who built the pyramids in Egypt, and everybody's like, was it the Jews, is it the aliens, who built the pyramid? And then I go, there's also pyramids in Mexico, and nobody questions who built those. Right? Like, so it's like, we know Mexicans did that shit, right? Like, easily, you know? So, and now it's playing off this stereotype, right? Obviously there. And maybe the first time I said a version of it, maybe there were Mexicans that were like, wait a minute, are you trying to say all we do is build shit?
Right.
And then by the end, I see it now used as audio on people's TikToks when they're putting together houses and shit. And they're like, oh yeah, this is what, we're nice at working, and everybody else can't work like us. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's what happens when it takes time. So like, I'm in this weird position, like with this joke and other things that I've said throughout my career that mess people up, because I'm like, there's a part of me where I'm like, man, you're right, the joke wasn't that good. So it's not like I can't go, this is the funniest thing ever. So I'm really in this position where I'm like, but you gotta let me shoot. Well, actually, you don't have to let me do anything, but like, I wanna keep shooting, because sometimes when I drain it, it's crazy. Does that make sense?
But no, but though, I was gonna ask, actually, it's funny you bring that, like the stereotype stuff, or like low-hanging fruit.
Sure.
You know, Mexicans work hard, white dudes have small penises, Jewish people are cheap. You know, like just the stereotypes of it all. And is there, are you—
true, what you just said.
But are you like, to the point of like almost punching down with the jokes more than making it funny?
I don't think anybody's below me. That's very important to understand. I don't think anybody's below me. Right. I don't think anybody's above me. I don't think anybody's below me.
Yeah, but I'm at the low-hanging fruit thing, like so, a black people in watermelon joke, like.
Yeah, I mean, that is the lowest hanging fruit.
It actually grows on the ground. But you see, like, it's just like—
You wrote that one. I didn't write that one.
Jokes write themselves.
That's so here's a perfect example. Like, that's just like, all right, we're here, and we're in an environment having fun. If it's 4 white dudes in a room doing it, that might feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what that situation, which I thought people would see, is like, I'm not doing that joke in front of like 2 white guys in a room. Like, I'm doing it, there's 2 black guys in the room as well. Like, I thought they would communicate like, hey, there's good faith here. No, there's no real animosity or like hatred or any of that kind of shit. But back to your saying, I think that there's like, sometimes there's like stereotypes that are like low-hanging fruit, but sometimes there's like really clever things that you could say that play off of those things. So like, Mexicans working hard, you could go, this is like a cultural attribute, right? I don't think anybody refutes that. And then I'm like, okay, how can I justify this in like some cool historical way? Not like oh yeah, they can sell all these things, or they can build this. I'm like, what can I do that like not only taps into the Mexicans building the pyramids, but also like it taps into people not thinking Jews can work hard. Because when they say the Jews built the pyramids, people are like, man, the aliens did it, man. There's no way. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that like 7 guys dressed like me are building a pyramid. You know what I mean? Like, but when they say Mexicans did, people are like, yeah, that adds up, right? So there's all this like, to me, I don't like getting into that shit, but like there's all this cool, like kind of little fun nuance, and it's playing into people's thoughts. Like, I'm not injecting the thought in you. You already think it. Does that make sense? It's like, it's already in there, so sometimes I don't even have to say it.
That's what a stereotype is.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
But not every joke has to do with like stereotypes. Like sometimes just like understanding culture is really fun for me. Like anytime I go to a different country or place to perform, and it could be like a state in America, I'm like trying to understand like, okay, what makes these people tick? What are they annoyed by? What are they really proud of? Like, what are they proud of, but it's actually kind of silly and they all know it's silly? You know what I mean? Like, this is not even jokes, but I would just remember like, even with Fred, like I just, like the only reason people play with the Jaguars in Madden is because of you. Like, there's no other, like you know what I mean? There's no other reason. And it's twofold. It's like, we knew you obviously in New York, obviously prolific football player, but because of the Fabulous line.
Right.
Right? And so it's like, there's all these like little tiny things that are going on, and you're like, how do I sew these things together? Every new piece of information I have, I'm like working on it. Like, okay, I'm hanging out with these guys. What am I dressed like? What do I look like? I don't actually look like Ryan. Like, I'm in the outfit Ryan would wear, but I look like a crooked agent. And I'm like, oh, didn't somebody steal from you? I look like fucking Tony Banks. You know what I mean? Like,
He came ready.
He came back
no,
around.
Okay,
like,
ready.
This is how like my brain like starts to like pick up little pieces of information. And like that joke was, there's some pieces of information that got picked up and it just wasn't funny enough. But like, that's how my brain goes. It's like, oh, how can I flip this? How can I use that angle?
So here would be my question.
Yeah.
If we're in the airport together, right? You can tell who everybody thinks we are by the way they speak to us.
Oh, tell me
Right?
that.
So if they meet Fred, like it's whoever meets him, if it's an auntie, like an old black woman, she all over him. Right? Like you gotta damn near stand in between it, because Fred's the sex symbol of the show. Right? He speaks in a low voice, he's mysterious, he don't say a lot. Right? So Fred, so when they walk up on, every time you walk through the airport, every old black woman's like, you tell Fred I say hello.
No.
Every time. Am I lying, Fred? Am I lying? That's the real. And then so then Chan, everybody wants him to joke. Like they want him to joke, or they want him to tell some story about being dressed in a furry outfit, trying to get taken advantage of.
Oh yeah, your stories are crazy. From
Right.
the sex part. I mean, I remember that was going viral, and it was insane.
And all it is to me, they want to debate sports.
Yes.
Right? They want to debate sports when they see me. And so my question for you would be, right, because you're talking about how all these jokes play and the little pieces of it, what would be the point where the comedian shuts off and you're just Andrew Schultz?
You know, it's weird. It's like having a kid that starts to happen. Like I like think about people's kids. Like I was doing some research on the pod and I found out like one of your kids is in fashion design, right? And I was like, and immediately I was like, oh no, do they design his suits? Did I make, like I had this like, and I like, even now I'm thinking about, I'm like, oh my God, like the suits don't look bad. Like, and I thought about this kid looking at watching the pod and like seeing me tease this thing that they worked really hard on. And then I thought about you as a dad. Maybe you don't even fucking like the suits, but you love your kids so much, you're like, I'm gonna wear these stupid suits with the pin, and you don't even wanna wear this shit, but you got to. Like, it's when your wife buys you a necklace or something, you're like, all right, I'm wearing this dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like, but like, so that's how my brain works. So I'm like, oh. So there are these moments where I feel bad. Like, obviously, when we did the roast of Tom, like, they said, like, hey, don't say anything about his kids. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not saying anything about your kid. My kind of rules are like, if your family didn't ask for this or they're not in the public eye, then they're kind of off. Like, I'm not talking about somebody's wife who never wanted to be famous or never wanted to be part of this. Now, the Kardashians want to be famous, so now you're part of all this. But if you're like some innocent kid, like, so I'll turn it off there.
Not even like turn it off, Andrew, as like, okay, this may be off limits to joke about. If I'm watching you on anything, if I'm in a room with you anywhere, should I always expect that everything you say is a joke?
No, and that's a good point too. Because I think what a lot of people are realizing right now is like, there are comedians who aren't funny and they say things that are not funny that just come across as fucked up. And they might be able to use the I'm a comedian as protection for that. And then I see the public going, wait, what? You're not just allowed to say offensive, racist shit just because you're a comedian, right? And that is that's why I keep saying like people are allowed to react however they want to react. It doesn't give them carte blanche. Like if somebody says a joke and it like really makes people feel bad, that you're not wrong. Like you feel however you want to feel. But I would say like most of my conversations with people are pretty serious. I don't want to say serious, but like I try to get to some truth, and then when you're at the truth or whatever that is, like once we're having a real conversation, then funny always comes out. Like you were dead serious when you were talking about low-hanging fruit. And then it ended up being funny.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was like you were like having a serious moment, and I feel like that's when I laugh the hardest. Not when it's just, hey, we're trying to just do these like flippant misdirections, but more like you're trying to get somewhere with me, and it's so serious that we're both locked in, and then this funny thought either enters your brain or my brain, and then it happens.
Like you read the Wikipedia and all, we do research as well.
For sure.
Like mom and dad, business owners.
They dance lessons.
I really, own
dance lessons.
dance studio.
Mom was a champ though.
Yeah,
Three times.
Mom, 3-time champ. Though.
3-time U.S. ballroom dance champion.
She ain't wear that Pee Wee Herman outfit you got on, but like the funny, like Archie just said, like I'm the guy that people, bro, it'll be 6 a.m. and people walk around the corner and see me and they start smiling because they, what are you gonna say? And we've talked about on the show where,
what do they walk up to you and what do they say?
They want me to tell a joke.
They're like, Waka Flocka, tell us about something.
but bro, I think comedians are.
I actually never thought about that, but
I like Waka Flocka.
pretty spot on right now.
I laid my head down. I laid my head down.
Spot on right now.
I thought about it when he said, I laid my head down. Gave this some goddamn material. But I think the funny guys.
Yeah.
It was created in, I don't think it's like nurture nature.
Yeah.
What in your life made you want to enlighten rooms like that? Because looking at the path, it seems, you lived the great all-American life. But I think I was created by parents getting divorced, you know what I'm saying? Living by myself, single mother, she's upset, my sisters, arguments and all, and now I need to go make people laugh because around me is chaos.
Yeah, I think that's a really astute observation just about yourself. Like, you developed a skill to kind of deal with existing trauma. And it's probably like a lot of comedians, like how are you coping with this thing? You know, you've got a lot going on. Like, you know, you ever meet like somebody kind of like they're fat? Fat people are kind of funny. And it's like, they gotta be. Or else they're this fat just sitting in a room, like taking up all the oxygen. You know what I mean? So they need to be
allowed to say that.
Breathing loud.
Last show. hey, they're gonna be like, Andrew Schultz gets the last laugh. The pivot no longer on YouTube.
Hey, where's my camera? Hey, fat people, chase me.
Like it's over. It's a wrap. No, I ain't laughed.
But yeah, like all the stuff you're going through, like I even imagine like the racial dynamic, like trying to figure out like, are you black enough around your black friends? Are you only black to your white friends? Are you white to your black friends? Like there's a lot of different circumstances you got to emotionally manage at a young age. And the quickest way to manage a lot of those things is just making people laugh. Like it just kind of desensitizes everything.
But the first thing, I tell a joke about that, I say, treat me like a white man. Because I'm 50-50. So I'm half black, half white. So when I walk in a room, treat me like a 6'3" white man with dreads and tattoos. And I joke about it, like, why do you look at me like a black man, but...
What is that treat? Like, how would we treat a 6'3" white guy with dreads and tattoos?
I say that, like, and so I do jokingly walk that line.
Yeah.
But what's your trauma? Why did you have to make people laugh?
That's an interesting one. I think there's multiple components, and I don't always think it's trauma. I think a lot of times with comedians, like, that can be helpful, but I know a lot of people who dealt with trauma and they're not funny. They just, like, sad. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that growing up in New York City, I think that it was the easiest way to connect with people. And we didn't really have a community that was built around, like, religion. We didn't really have a community that was built around, like, one culture. It was just, New York was our identity, really. And it was all these kids, and this is how we connected with one another, is we kind of made fun of each other. That was it. And like, my crew felt immense comfort. The only thing that I would say is similar is like the relationship that buddies of mine who are in the military have with their like brothers in the military, where it's just like anything goes, because once I know that you'll die for me, I can't think that you have any malice towards me. Wow. You know what I mean? So that you build up such a level of trust. And that's kind of how we grew up. And I know that's weird for a lot of people. Like, I think a lot of times we take that for granted in New York. We're like, oh yeah, everybody grew up like us. Like everybody, like my high school is half Asian. Can you imagine that? Like, can you imagine that? Like,
definitely
no,
weren't
right?
the smartest person in the
No, not at all.
Yeah, I know
We were
that.
like, stop letting these motherfuckers in. This is supposed to be a public school. How is it? Bro, the crazy thing, it was half the kids got in off of grades and the other half got in off of like random because it's a public school. And that shit was 50% Asian. And we know who got in off the grades.
Yeah.
Like it was unbelievable.
I do have a question for you, though, right? You told us your sperm doesn't really work well.
Yeah, it doesn't swim. It's shaped weird. You guys all have vasectomies. I was watching a clip about
But
that.
Chan also has his mama's dick.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I had a...
Craziest
Bro,
thing.
I used to tell a joke about, because my dad is this huge dick, and I was like waiting to grow into it. Yeah, dude, we got our mom's dick, bro. It's f***ed up. It's f***ed up.
But when I saw my dad,
Fred don't know nothing.
my
dude.
dad's a 6'4" black dude, and when I saw this baby leg fall out one
Dude,
time, I
it's-
was like,
Yeah, you're waiting for it.
what the hell? I thought it was
know.
gonna, and I'm 21, 22, and
That's late.
I'm like, I'm never gonna, when is this gonna grow?
I used to hold my breath, try to push it out. I'd be like... I go, damn near shitting myself trying to get 2 centimeters.
You said your sperm does,
So my sperm
swim?
doesn't really swim that well. It's like shaped weird, like it's all f***ed up. It's bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was sitting in there and they told his wife, you are perfectly fine.
Yeah.
He was like, well, damn, what's the issue then?
Bro, he was like, I couldn't believe, because we all like, I imagine you're coming up, you can't ever think that there's something wrong with your sperm. You know what I mean? Like, you guys all got kids.
Yeah.
Easy. Right?
Very easy.
Easy. Like,
Not on purpose.
Too easy. Not on purpose.
Yeah.
So I'm growing up with these stories of like athletes having kids. And in my mind, you know, everybody who's not an athlete thinks they're an athlete, right? You guys are aware of this.
100%.
Right, okay. And like when you guys play pickup against us or some shit, like we then learn the difference, you know, but before that, we're sizing you guys up and we're like, man, I'm crossing this over. Like, it's not, like we are, like in our brains, like you guys look regular, you know? And then we're on the court and it's a different thing and it sucks, whatever. But so yes, I'm gonna get every girl pregnant. I was like stressed like for decades. Like I'm hooking up with girls. I'm like, we're getting plan Bs. Like I was telling Shannon this shit. I was like, remember the last scene of Fresh Prince when he's just in the living room, but there's no furniture or nothing? That's what a plan B looking like in every girl that I've hooked up with.
So there ain't no sperm there.
What the fuck you want me to do with this? Shit already cleaned out. So yeah, it was like, bro, at first it hurts, man. Like, at first I started wondering if like my wife would stop being attracted to me on like some primal shit. So you have that like initial feeling, and I think I was like probably like sensitive and like defensive about shit, like, cause I don't know how it, like I'm just watching nature documentaries and like once like the alpha chimpanzee no longer could fight, like the girls kind of are like, all right, whatever, I don't gotta fuck him anymore. So I'm like, what's going on? Do I have to go to the gym? Like, you know, then you kind of get through that shit. And then, you know, we spoke to the doctor. At first, I just wanted to beat it. And I was like, I could get you pregnant. Don't listen to what they think. I'm gonna get one in there. And like, I mean, this is like a lot, but like we would do it and then I would hold her legs up. So it's like, they might not be swimming.
To shake it
but
down?
yeah, you just get to the, it's just like, you know, like before you put sugar in your coffee, you're like, I was like, you don't need a swim. We just need one, okay? There's a billion of these useless motherfuckers in my balls, and we just need one, okay? And so we do that, and then what you realize very quickly is like your ego could really hurt somebody. And as much as I wanted to get her pregnant for my own ego, every month that she wasn't would be like heartbreaking. And then the doctor essentially was like, listen, if you guys can afford it and if, you know, sometimes it's a lot easier on the relationship. He's like, you guys can keep trying. And it's normal for people to not have success immediately, for us regular folks, not you guys. submachine guns inside all of you. This is unbelievable. So the fact that all you guys individually had a point in your life where you're like, I got to get these cut off, bro. I'm a weapon out here. This is I'm dangerous, bro. I don't know what I might do. Like the fact that you guys had to think that is just so foreign for me. I still look at it and I'm like, come on, guys.
That's how it feels to run 99 yards and fumble at the 1. You see the guys when they run through the end zone and they drop the ball like this? I gotta keep going. But no, on some real shit though, Andrew, because you got a psychology background. Right?
Yeah.
Was it psychology when you said RC was clout chasing? Was it like a reverse psychology?
No, you know what it was? It was my
reverse
genuine.
clout?
No, it was my genuine reaction, which I think is like, is informed by some insecurity. Like, I'm sure you guys are going through this now. You guys are this big show, and like people can eat off of you.
Correct.
So like people can do little reaction videos, and they have all these hot takes. It's like, it's so funny. It's like everything. There's a sports center for a sports center for a sports center. It's like we're reacting to shit. There's people reacting to us reacting to shit. There's people reacting to them reacting to us reacting. It's like, it just is a never-ending thing.
Yeah.
So I think I was used to that. And also, I didn't know how you guys put out content. So when it first came out, like I looked for the full episode because I don't like to react to just a clip of something. I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's more context. And there was no full episode. So I was like, did they just all meet up to say I'm racist? What the fuck is going on here? What is that? What in the world has happened?
A reverse, that's a reverse lynching.
That's good.
Yeah.
See? That's a dark joke, but that's a good joke. That is fucking good. So I'm like, holy shit. And that was my knee-jerk reaction. And then when we were texting, you explained like that you had like a lot of people hit you up.
Yeah.
And I'm sure these people, actually I'm not sure, like maybe some of them familiar with me, maybe they weren't. And they were just like, hey, you have a platform, you're an important person in our world, and it would be great if you defended us about this. And it's hard to look at those people that you care about and be like, nah, Giants are playing, or we got to interview this person. So
I think it's like the same way you do everything though. It wasn't like nobody asked me to defend. They just said, hey, what's your reaction to this?
Oh, okay. That's fair.
And it brought me back to your point though. You said there's like the initial reaction or the initial topic or segment, someone reacting to that. And so how have you adjusted to that though? Because you have the mindset of, okay, people are entitled to their feelings.
Yeah.
Right? And you are in a place to where you're famous, right? And people are going to react to what you say. Yeah. And I'm positive, I know for a fact, I wasn't the only person that reacted.
Of course not. Of course, right? You guys just have like a really big platform, and your platform is, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know, but it's influential, and like I think people watch it, and any kind of, I think you can like start, I don't want to say start, but like you definitely have influence for sure, and like your opinions matter.
So how do you deal with people reacting to your jokes or to the things you say harshly? Do you feel like do you feel like you always have to respond to those things?
No. I almost never respond. I probably should address certain things more because sometimes people can like, I'm not saying you guys do this, but like I'm sure you guys experience, like people just make shit up. Like they'll just say, like I can't imagine what they're doing with you guys about, they're like, oh, but this person doesn't like this, all this other nonsense. And you guys are in the group chat just going, where do these people get this shit? And it's like, well, it makes money. They make videos and then they get paid off the videos. That's what it is. So usually I don't, like, maybe I should address trends better. Like Charlemagne is the best at it. Like Charlemagne is just like, he can like address something without even acknowledging the person that he's addressing. So they get no clout, they get no response, but the trend, the thing that's out there in the world gets the response from him. But he's also just the best to ever do it at talking into a microphone. So like that's like, I think the most sophisticated way of like going about it. I gotta probably get better at that. But like my initial reaction is going, like I'll tell you what you wanna know what my initial reaction is? Which I think is kind of unfair, but my initial reaction was when I saw you guys talking about it, and I was like, okay, he wants to protect black women, and this is very important. And then I looked on every one of the episodes that you had to see if there was any guys on here that beat up black women. And there were. And I looked to see if you guys addressed it on the pod, and you didn't.
Okay.
Now, I also saw you guys had the episode with DeAndre's mom talking about domestic violence. So I was like, okay, this is good and this is powerful, this is important. But my knee-jerk reaction was, man, I get a whole section that's not even part of an episode. And these guys who we know have actually, like, for like a joke, and these guys who have actually like hurt black women and convicted, not allegations, because I don't go off of allegations, I go off of conviction. Everybody can get an allegation, it means nothing. And then these guys, they don't get anything. So in that moment, I was like, this feels like a clout play. It doesn't feel like the highest priority is protecting these women. So that was my initial reaction.
So I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
We have had people on this show that have been convicted for domestic violence that have pulled it out of the show.
That pulled it out of the show.
That I have asked about it.
Oh, and then they're
that
like, I don't want it on the show.
Yeah, and I do, because people come on our show voluntarily.
Of course.
I do ask those questions in respectful ways. Right? I'm not, hey man, you're a woman beater, but I will say, like, in one of the instances that was pulled, I said, look, you know, you were convicted of something that no man wants attached to his name.
Amen.
And they answered it. We talked to their people. I was like, man, the answer was good, like, and they pulled it out of the show. So we've had that happen. We also had an instance with one of our guests who was talking about sexual assault, and he talked about it in a way that almost said that, okay, how do we blame the women? And I addressed that as well.
Yeah.
So as far as for me, I try to address it in every opportunity that I get a chance to with them.
Yeah.
I try to ask them questions in ways that they get to tell their side of the story.
Yeah.
When they sit with us, I do not bash them over the head with it, condemn them, or judge them in the moment.
Yeah.
I do try to have a conversation about it.
We're all like hypocrites. Like, nobody's perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've had people on the pod, like, I've had a president on the podcast. Like nobody's killed more people than a president. You know what I mean? Like, anybody who sat down, if you sat down with Obama, hundreds of thousands of people are dead because of decisions that he thought were in the best interests of America, right? Same thing if you sat down with Clinton, you sat down with anybody, right? Like, I did a buddy of mine's podcast, and he brought up the fact that I had Alex Jones on my podcast. He did one of the most heinous things in history, where he said that those kids were faking it at that school shooting. Remember that? Like, that's a heinous, Sandy Hook. I mean, disgusting, heinous. I had a buddy of mine, I went on his podcast, and he was like, yeah, I can't believe you did that. That was like so f***ed up, like what he did to those kids. And I was like, you visited the Pope. You know what I mean? Like, they were protecting people f***ing kids. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you had the opportunity to go meet him, and you're like, I'll do that. And like, they were literally protecting priests that were having sex with children. Like, I can't think of any, like, so we can always find the moral equivalency or the moral high ground, which was a thing that I did with you guys, but I hesitated to like go out and talk about that publicly. This is why I did, is because the point of that is not to protect those women or to protect the children. The point of that is to make you feel bad or me feel good. And now we're using victims as a tool. I don't want to do that. So it might make me feel good in the moment for me to go out and like go and talk on the pod and yada, yada, yada. But I was like, I don't want to use them as like a tool for this thing to feel good.
I think the other piece of it is too.
So I made fun of your outfit.
Yeah, and that was I liked it because I'm glad I was in the group chat.
Yeah,
I
I just didn't want to like. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe it would have been like a justified thing, but also maybe it's like a conversation I could have just had with you on the side, you know, and understood perspective and understood the thought. Like, knowing right now that, you know, you did ask them about that, but you respected their wishes to have it cut. Like, I get that. We had Mr. Beast on for another time, and I asked him about all these things that there was a lot of controversy going on, and we did the pod, and afterwards he's like, dude, can you cut all that shit? And I was like, I can't put out the episode then, man. Like, just because I feel like I'm doing this like fluff piece when like
we've done that.
Yeah. So it's like we all are going to figure out what those things are. So I don't begrudge anybody for doing that. I don't begrudge you, but I think in that moment I just wanted that like I just wanted revenge, or I just wanted to be like, you're making me look dumb. Well, here, let me make you look dumb, which I think is like the most childish version of this shit. So I tried not to do that.
No, I respect that, and I think we go through it. When the video came out with Diddy, right, and Cassie.
Oh God.
Right, I thought I didn't care what color he was. I thought it was a bitch move.
Yeah.
Right, and I was very vocal about that. And then from my community, obviously, I get where you just a black man that wants to tear another black man down.
Oof.
Right, but my thing was, no matter what color the man is, you don't put your hand on a woman.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right, and so there's all of these things that I think right now, as we have this platform, Andrew, too, that happen in the moment. Right, they're the same way you say Charlemagne addresses the trends the best. Right, as you know, in our business now, it's like people want to hear about what matters to them in that moment. Right, you don't go back and grab something from 20 years ago unless the video comes out. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like that's kind of the piece of it too. When you sit with people, it's okay, how does the way I interview this person, or deciding to interview them or not, injure the people or further traumatize the people they have already injured?
Sure.
And so it's definitely dealing with those things. And even you bringing it up, like it's something like I battled with
I can imagine.
when they asked to take it out the show. I was in the place of like, man, F the show. And so I get it, what you're saying.
Obviously you guys aren't new to this. You've been doing this a while, but like as you find success, there's certain things you do that are successful, they'll hit. And there's certain things that like you really love doing on the pod. There's this thing that you guys really love doing, but maybe it didn't hit as much. How do you battle between the thing that is working and the thing that is like authentically pure to you guys?
It's out of our control, just knowing that. We just did a beautiful show with Jelly Roll.
Jelly's the
Like,
man.
it was an amazing show.
Yeah.
After a day, 70, 80,000 views.
Yeah.
But it was the content was amazing.
Yeah.
It's gonna touch a ton of people, but
Yeah.
it's out of our control. And we felt that it was an amazing show. Whereas you do a show with someone else and the depth of it might not be what we think, but then it floats around everywhere. So
I think
just knowing that what we control and what we don't control.
I think there are a lot of people that are victims of the algorithm. Meaning like the algorithm is telling them what to create and they don't even realize it. Mm-hmm. And I think that like putting out good work that is authentic to you is knowing that sometimes it's gonna go crazy and sometimes it's not, but it is the thing you wanna do. Mm-hmm. And I think there's longevity in that. And I think chasing the algorithm is short-term gains, in my personal opinion. And you lose your authenticity, right? It's like...
There was also, too, like, I'll be honest, you mentioned it, like, we wanted you on the show before.
Yeah.
Right? And in coming up to, like, this show, right, and sitting with you, I had the conversation with myself, like, okay, like, I have his number now.
Yeah.
Right? What does sitting with Andrew look like from the outside?
Yeah.
Right? In the sense of, on my side, is it okaying what people thought I was against, or people feel I stood up against? Now am I saying it's okay? And I think the biggest thing I like to talk about and do is, if I don't have a conversation with people to truly know where they stand, I never learn.
Dude, I think that good faith conversations are what media is missing right now. I think there's a lot of like dunk content, like you're debating on some news show and the two people are just on different sides of the political aisle or whatever it is, and they don't actually care about each other. They're just trying to prove their point. And I mean, that's why I wanted to come on. I was just like, obviously we were texting and it was like nice to text, but I also just wanted to like hear your guys' thoughts and like understand the perspective, and that informs my decisions. If you asked me 5 years ago or 8 years ago, like, what do you think about people get offended by jokes? I'd be like, oh, pussies, why do they get, oh, it's just a joke, da, 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 da. Like, my feelings about it have matured and like become more fully formed, and I think I'm better at comedy because of that. Like, I think I'm better at communicating because of that. So anybody that I think that like has respect for me, if they disagree, like, I want to talk to you. Not anybody's shit. You got to be like one of the biggest shows, like obviously, you know what I mean? But like, you know what I mean? But like, and if I respect them too, like I want to have that conversation, and I'm gonna say things that I'm gonna probably look back and be like, ah, that wasn't a really good answer to that question, and these things. But I'll learn. I'm not afraid to like learn and go, okay, no, that's a good point. Maybe I could have seen it from that angle a little bit more. But I hope I learn, and I know I'll never learn if I stay in like a little protective bubble. And never have combos with people. And it's important to go to your show. Like having you guys on my show which I would still love to do, but it's still like a home game. Like I think you're more vulnerable in a place where you're in someone else's environment. Absolutely. You guys are dictating the interview, and like I have to react in real time.
Right.
And you get to find out like what is my honest reaction, not what I planned for the show.
I like that.
What's the future of Andrew Schultz? Like, because you know comedians,
Yeah.
they do tours, they do shows,
Yeah.
they get in the TV,
Yeah.
the Martins, the Eddie
Yeah.
Murphys, the all. Like, what are you doing moving forward? What do we expect out of you moving forward?
I finished the tour, and now I usually take time off, and like I let the world impact me and wait till there's something I really care about, and then when I really care about it, I'll start writing about that.
But is it a Red Fox? Eddie got in the TV movies, like
I would like to make
the
a film.
future of it, man. I know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're keeping it a secret. You know what I'm saying?
No, not at all. Like I want to make a film. I want to make a film based on the story from the special, but I want to like be involved in like the produce. Like acting is boring. It's the most boring shit in the fucking world. You're there for 12 hours. Actors are boring. You know how like when you guys get around with each other, it's like we like to argue. It's like we have the same. I've been having the same arguments with my friends for 10 years, like LeBron or Jordan, and I'll have it for the next 40 years, and it's fun, and I want to argue with you. I want you to say some shit, and I'm going to argue about it, and then you say, and then we're going to argue, and it's going to be fun, and we're going to make fun of each other's clothes. But actors is all just like yes queening. It's like, yeah, we should, yeah, it's the best, and yeah, we should totally take that guy down, and yeah. And I'm just like, can somebody shoot this place up? This is insane, dude. Like what is happening? And you're there for 12 hours. Like, and then when you try to ruffle feathers, they get like all like freaked out, you know?
Yeah.
So I would like to make a film, but like that type of problem solving, that type of organization, writing, like learning what it is to make an actor feel like comfortable to get a really awesome performance from them. Like, yeah, like how do you get the best performance out of somebody? Like, okay, how does that person want to be coached? You got to let that person do their thing. You can't give them too much information. That person is insecure. You got to make them feel really confident, and then you get something special. Like, just those types of things would be cool. So I think that next film, yeah.
I got 2 questions.
Yeah.
You can answer whichever one you want.
Yes.
Are there any comedians you want to talk shit about? Or
No, dude.
you can answer this question.
Only Lil Duval.
That's our home.
Only Lil Duval.
Duval
is. I would say Duval is like my biggest. I've said this before. I try to give him his flowers every single time I can, but he's like the biggest inspiration for me. And everything that I've done comedically has been fruit off of his tree. So like any idea I've had, he's probably already done it on the internet. There are so many people that are copying Duval without even realizing that they're copying Duval. Like, I mean, you know, just from being around Jacksonville, like just what he does, even for his city. Like, that's another thing that like is really important that I kind of try to remember is like, it's easy to, when everybody is into you, to forget about home. But the people who never forget about home can always be good at home, right? Like, and it's just, and it can be seductive to people. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go to LA and do it. It's like, no. And those people who are just like, this is home, like bro, I remember once I went to the Bahamas to go to his place and I didn't have some like visa or something for like filming equipment. And I told the person in customs, I was like, I don't know, I'm going to see Lil Duval. And then they just went, all right, go for it. Can you imagine how much influence that is? Where customs just goes, all right, it's Duval. You can take this illegal shit here.
That's true. But no, the real question is
Yes.
your biggest pivot. So we always ask our guests what's their biggest pivot. That's that one moment you can go back to, look at it and say, without this happening, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Oh, wow. Without that, wow. I mean, this is going to sound very cliche, but like, I think just the role my dad played in my life, like his commitment to me, like it was just unrelenting. Like he was just always there. He just for anything. I think when you're a kid and you have that relationship, you kind of think that's what everybody has. You just like, that's what it is. He never once was like, you got it good with me. Like, the goal in life is your kid, at least I hope with my daughter, she'll never know how much she's loved, because this is just what love feels like. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's just, like, yeah, my parents just adore me and they just want to do everything with me, and they believe in me. Like, yeah, that's just what parents do. You know, like that. So I would say that's the difference maker for me in my life. And it might be cliche to say, but it's like, yeah, every bit of confidence, every bit of belief, you know.
The still of when you found out you were having a girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like that feeling, I wanted, but yeah, you had a bad haircut that day.
Yeah, it was bad,
Yeah,
bro.
I wanted to, but I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
because, you know, you guys had trouble getting pregnant.
Yeah.
And then you finally, you know, your wife had some complications during. You find out you
Yeah,
have
she had a C-section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that feeling though of like, what was that look expressing when you found out you were having a girl?
We found out early that we were gonna have the girl, and I was terrified. Because I think that, like, God, it's so funny how we are. Like, when I thought, I think I naturally just thought it was gonna be a boy. Maybe that's just what men think in general. Like, and I was like, they're going to public school in New York. They're gonna, you know, like, I'm not gonna have one of these like pussy ass private school kids. Like, they're going to school like me. Like, they're just gonna be wet. And the second I had a girl, I was like, I'm not letting her touch a fucking public school. She's going to Catholic school in Queens or some shit. Like, we are protecting this girl. So that was crazy. But I'll tell you, when we first got to see her, man, you know, like, seeing someone give max effort is so rare in life, you know, like, and, you know, just labor is just unbelievable. And just seeing my wife, like, give literally every ounce of energy that she has, like, up to feeding the baby. And the second they pull the baby off, she just passed out. But it's like, it's very rare you get to see someone that you really care about give literally everything they possibly have. And yeah, you just feel so great. I remember in that moment, I told my wife this, but I was like, if this girl ever talks back to you, I don't know what I'm gonna do to her, but I will do something. I'm like, you can't do anything to a girl, but you're like, I will explain what you just fucking went through. You know what I mean? Like, in a strong way. Or something, like,
Did you stay in the danger zone,
I
or
was
you
behind
were?
the curtain, bro. I went
you
up
up
one
top?
time. I saw that shit. I was like, oh my God, it looked like a football exploded, bro. It was crazy. I understood why the curtain was there. I mean, it was. Have you been there for the?
I had 3, and I held the leg the whole time.
For the C-section?
No.
Yeah, right.
Natural
C-section
birth.
is crazy. I was born that way. My parents always tell me about it. My dad said it was the craziest thing.
So he saw the whole thing. Holy moly. I mean, it is just, they tell you don't look. And the second you tell me that, it's like, well, now I gotta f***ing look. And that was, oh God. So wait, so you were there when the head popped out?
Crowning, you see the little head, then it pops out, then the shoulders turn and wiggle out. That's not bad. The afterbirth, that little bag of snot, that shit's disgusting. I got goofy legs. I swear, I didn't know what faint meant until I had kids.
Wait, really?
And when I saw the
jellyfish.
second act,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I felt. My wife just gave birth. They're putting a cold pack on my head. I was like, this shit's nasty.
And that's when you realize that your mama's dick did the job.
Hey, that bitch worked, man. That bitch worked.
Nah, man, I appreciate you being willing, man, to sit down with us, man. It
Thank
was
you guys
awesome,
so
man.
much for having me. I really
I
appreciate
appreciate
the
it,
time,
man. That was dope, bro.
Appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir.
Make sure I'll put my joints on. Make sure. Oh, man.
That was little, dog.
Thank you.
Bro, I know you've
They
been
gonna have
somewhere.
to cut that bitch off with scissors.
Andrew, I know
Look at
you've been
this.
somewhere you had to wear a suit, though, dog.
Bro.
Like, somewhere.
You gonna
Yeah,
get it?
it was so long ago.
It
You've
is.
been somewhere you had to wear a suit.
No, he got a yeast
What'd you wear?
infection.
What'd you wear to the? What'd you
Bro,
wear
I
to
had
the
a
roast?
suit for the Brady one, but
Hold on, let me
it wasn't RC enough. Like, I felt the double-breasted. Like,
That's a me suit.
I'm peeping game, dude,
It's a great suit. It's just,
for like a smaller guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you grow?
So I'm out here, man. I'm eating carbs.
You are not out here, dog. You are not.
I'm busting out my suit, man.
You are not.